Hello, everyone. A happy new year to you all. I hope you had a nice evening, and you had some time with your loved ones, your favourite ones, and all those things. And you are looking forward to 2023 with renewed hope and purpose in your lives, or not. Just being happy. That's all we can hope for, isn't it? That's my idea this year. Anyway. Now we've done that nice bit. Welcome to the football. Yes, Norwich City's 2023 starting off much like 2022 ended, which is perhaps not a terrific surprise given not much has changed since the Reading game. So there we are. Vakoun Bayo scored the only goal of this game, quite late on, 88th minute, I think it was. Just a shout out for the fact that this game had 16 minutes of injury time. It's just like the World Cup. It's amazing. Exactly how it should be in my mind. I want shed loads of injury time or a real time clock. But we'd obviously still have to call it 90 minutes because, some things have got to be sacrosanct, obviously. But yes, loads of injury time because there was lots going on. But yes, the goal was conceded late in the game. Norwich rallied but couldn't use the injury time to their advantage at the end and struggled to make things count in their favour during the course of the entire 90 minutes, in all honesty. I haven't looked at the XG figures for the second half, but I know in the first half, Watford were comfortably ahead and created by far the better goal-scoring opportunities, even though Norwich probably had more of the ball. In the second half, I thought Norwich created a little bit more. And they were threatening, and the game was probably a bit more in the balance. Maybe that's not a surprise, though, because Watford are absolutely injury-ravaged. They picked up another 3 hamstring injuries today, so they are literally on their backsides through fitness issues. They had a wretched Christmas, and they lost 4-0 against Swansea. But theirs feels much better now because they've won today, and Norwich haven't. Norwich is... Sorry, I'm not laughing because I'm enjoying this, in case people get... a bit confused by that. It's like, how do you react to this sort of stuff? Because it's, in football terms, kind of tragic comedy at the moment with Norwich. I have said for some prolonged period of time that Norwich's issues were not solely about Dean Smith. I believe that's the case across the club. But I certainly believe it's the case with the squad. I think there is an imbalance to the squad. There is obviously now quite clearly a lack of confidence as well. I think it's great to see Sam McCallum progressing, but I do feel that he's not, at the moment, a fullback that can get Norwich promoted. I don't think he's quite at that level yet. Also, I think Dimia Nulis has made mistakes as well, to the point where there are big question marks over him as well. And I think that position exemplifies a fair few issues in the entire squad. I thought against Reading there was a chaotic edge and obviously an increased energy, but the actual structure of what they were trying to do didn't really work as far as I was concerned, although they were threatening in the second half. Today, I thought we saw that probably taken on to another level, really. The structure of Norwich's play was awful. If I'm honest, I thought the coherence in what they were trying to do and build the play up was lost. And Alan Russell, who obviously has kind of led the interim charge between him and Steve Weaver, certainly in terms of public showing, mentioned about the play often coming inside when it should have stayed outside. I mean, there's a classic moment late on in injury time where Norwich were trying to feed it outside, but no one, there was no winger, there was no player running wide. Everyone was coming inside, and it was all so clogged. And that structure to the play, I mean, I know there was a lack of coherence to what Norwich looked like under Dean Smith a lot of the time. But also the structures were kind of quite rigid. And I thought today was more like looking at a team where there wasn't any, the structure had cracked apart. And so there's obviously, and the players have said there was an aim to keep things really simple, which is fine. But that simple structure Watford found incredibly easy to deal with. I thought Watford they tired in the second half, and that was the point at which I thought they might come undone here. But generally, they dealt with it. The goal they scored was brilliant. I know people have sort of said about how bad Sam McCallum's first mistake was in sort of shanking the ball. And then he sort of dives in to try and tackle Ismaila Sarr on the counter and doesn't make it. I think the first error is an error because it gives the ball away. But I mean, it's a long way from goal. It's in Norwich. It's in the Watford half, and Norwich players gave the ball away numerous occasions today. But also, I don't think he was ever ahead of Sarr to then win the ball. So I think he dived, but it was kind of in vain, really, because either way, I think Sarr was probably ahead of him and was going to set up the goal. It was a brilliant counter. Watford's record against Norwich that is excellent in recent times and maybe quite iconic in terms of Norwich's own failings generally, has generally been really good. And we obviously had the 3-0 win at Watford, which was the only highlight of last season in the Premier League for Norwich. But so often this Watford team has looked just a bit more dynamic and a bit more quality. I thought throughout the first half, Watford looked a far better side in the final third. So yeah, quite sobering really. I don't think there was no Kenny McLean today who was injured. Max Aarons played, but he had to pass a fitness test through illness to play. Todd Campbell was back on the bench, but no Isaac Hayden through injury. So there's a few issues there. Norwich now don't play, of course, until the FA Cup visit from Blackburn here on Saturday, but it's kind of a meh game really, because then it's back to Championship action with, I think, a trip to Preston, which I think I might have got wrong last time, but Norwich are at Preston, I think, which is obviously a really difficult trip. It does underline the fact that Norwich's form is really awful at the moment, and they do have to be a little bit conscious that they do need to win some games at some point, never mind trying to make sure they're in the playoff pack. And of course, we should hopefully have a new coach unveiled during this week, certainly by the end of this week. Stuart Webber has done some media. I haven't seen it all. I will endeavour to catch that at some point very soon. I think Alan Russell and Steve Weaver have done what they can to keep things ticking over in that meantime. I don't think anything either way could be particularly levied at them, and we will see where their future lies beyond this. And that was sort of that came and went, really. There were issues defensively this afternoon. Norwich didn't look particularly tight, but then probably generally defended in their last action quite well. But yeah, for all the attacking players that sort of started the pitch, it didn't really work out. And probably the only mitigation I'd add is that Adamida showed some sparks. Most of it was sort of in individual movements, and I thought Teemu's quality of touch was still there here and there, but either people would struggle to read it or work off it. And felt a bit sorry, not for the first time for Teemu this season. So yeah, the interview process for the new head coach is in full swing. I think they're getting quite close to getting somewhere with it. I had a few people ask me for, sorry, these keep new headphones. I was going to make a joke about my headphones outlasting Dean Smith, but it didn't feel right. But they have. So. Yes, I heard a few people sending me messages and stuff. Of what I know of the managerial search, if it's good information, then I will make it public. It's basically where I'm at. So we know that the shortlist is there. We know that they're speaking to people at the moment. And as I said, I'm envisaging, certainly before the end of last week, I think Stuart Webber said Thursday probably. So yeah, I expect we'll get an answer very soon on all that. And I can't really think of anything else to say. I think when I look at that performance today and I look at Friday, I think I see what we all see, really, which is I think sometimes it can be hard to look at Norwich objectively, I suppose, because, you guys are all Norwich fans, or you wouldn't be listening to me rabble on. And so it can be hard to look at Norwich in the same way you'd look at basically every other football team. You'd, look at them and think, I can look at other teams and think, wow, look at them, they look this and that and the other. So if you take a slightly objective look at Norwich now, they look like a team who had high hopes at the start of the season, but the squad isn't as good as people think. but should probably be doing a bit better than it is. And they look like a team that is managerless, and the last manager didn't work. And they need something to create a spark, and they have to get this next appointment right. And that there's a lack of confidence. I think you can see that in someone like Marcelino. Yeah, so something needs to change. It is going to change. We will see what that is, and we will see what it looks like when it changes. Yeah, so we kind of got what we got. At the moment, I feel like this season has mid-table championship written all over it. I've certainly seen enough of those seasons in my time, but who wants to stop believing? No one wants to stop believing or dreaming. So yeah, there we go. Right, I'm done. Have a lovely rest of your New Year's start. Enjoy getting back to your jobs and not jobs, whatever it is you do. In the meantime, as we head into January, I will try and bring you lightness and relief wherever possible, and hopefully some objective reporting where I can. No, it is Monday today, so no On The Ball podcast this week. We'll be back next Monday. Before that, it'll be Blackburn here in the FA Cup, which will be a fun fest, of course. And keep checking in at The Athletic for all the latest over the course of Norwich's head coach search and other bits. There's a few bits up there that are worth reading now, so give them a read. In the meantime, look after yourselves, take care, let's get rid of that, and say goodbye. Happy New Year to you all. Auf Wiedersehen, Tara. Until next time.